What is up, everybody? We are here, Fired Up Sports Network, Yank This, episode 18, Championship Series edition. Tommy, how are we feeling?
Frustrated, man. Like every year, it seems like. Baffled by some of Boone's moves, or actually the analytics team's moves. Right, that's who runs this stuff. Not even managers anymore. Um, a lot of head scratching moves, if you ask me. Going to Schmidt there, taking Tyone out as early as he did, then going to Schmidt, I should say. The lineup. Listen, man, Matt Carpenter was great. You know, had a great little stretch for us. The guy hasn't seen live pitching in 2 months. I'm sorry, but he's not the move in the lineup in that spot. He's just not. It's mind boggling. Like, the guy didn't play for 2 months and you have him out there batting fifth. I know he's a professional hitter, man, but it's just I don't even know, man. It just gets me so frustrated, man, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Carpenter, you're right. He had a great story, but here, after 2 months, you're throwing him out there against one of the best pitchers that we've ever seen in Justin Verlander. Probably another Cy Young coming this year for him. And it was just a bad position, but overall, questionable roster moves. I talked about it last week, but I always wanted Peraza on the DS roster. I was told that Marwin made the roster over him because of experience, but now you cut Marwin when we're about to play the team that he won a World Series with. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but Peraza makes the team. He's going to be starting tonight at shortstop, batting eighth. Guy that's played really well for us, though, Harrison Bader. He's moved up to the leadoff spot. He's going to be hitting in front of Judge now. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. That Montgomery trade is looking a little better, but yeah, we just need we need to take one of these games in Houston because we can't lose both and then just give complete home field to Houston.
Yeah, I agree. You can't go 0-2 there, because if you do, you're in really bad shape. Yankees were in bad shape already to start this series, right? Because Houston's the better team. But now, by what's going on, we're even going to be in worse shape if we're 0-2. I don't think 0-2 is something that we can come back from.
You
Um,
said something in the group chat earlier today. What do you mean that the team isn't constructed to win?
yeah, I did say that, and Joe said that I was a Debbie Downer. Um, this is a good team to win you 95 games. Okay, you know, some good big bats.
You saying we're a regular season team?
100%, no problem. You want to know why? When you're playing when you're playing the White Sox in a 4-game series, and you're seeing two of their shitty pitchers, right? And you light them up, but then you don't show up against Giolito, let's just say, right? They're a big guy, right?
Right.
Okay, whatever. But when you're in the playoffs and you're facing the top of the top for pitching staffs, okay, it shows. The having guys in your lineup who don't rake base hits, it shows. Guys who strike out a lot in the playoffs, it shows. So in my eyes, this team is not constructed to win in the playoffs. How can a rookie guy, Quan, bat 360 in the playoffs for the Cleveland Guardians, but we can't have a guy hit 290, 280 is our best guy? Or actually, IKF's actually over 300, but, like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah,
we're not.
IKF.
I'm sorry, we're not constructed. We're not constructed to win in the playoffs. Our bullpen's hurt, which definitely doesn't help. But I don't think this team is constructed to win the playoffs. I really don't.
IKF, his problems, and I've said it all season, his problem isn't really with his bat. Yeah, he makes soft contact, but he gets on base. He finds a way to get on. It's his defense. And another one of the decisions that Boone made today is sticking with Josh Donaldson at third base over giving IKF the shot there. They were comfortable with him playing a few innings there yesterday. He's won a Gold Glove there. You got to think it's the contract, right? That's the only reason Donaldson is playing right now.
100% is the only reason why he's playing.
Yeah, Donaldson making all that money to play third base, and he just had it's taken all year for him to look even competent at the plate, and right now he still doesn't look that great. I said it a month ago. I think Peraza should be starting at short and IKF should be starting at third. But here we are, game 2. Boone is sticking with Donaldson. Maybe
You know,
IKF could be the pinch runner if Donaldson finds a way to walk or something.
I don't know. The way I look at it was like Ray said also. $25 million contract, you're kind of stuck, right? I mean, you're stuck with him for next year unless you trade him. Um, at this point, I don't care about him making $25 million. If the guy's not producing, bench the guy. Let IKF play third. Peraza play short, and then Cabrera play left field.
Yeah.
That should be the lineup right now. Donaldson, dude, looks so bad at the plate. I mean, he's getting froze on breaking balls. He's swinging through breaking balls. He can't catch up to 97. Like, dude, it's brutal.
He's looking at pitches right down the middle too. It's not like he's swinging at the pitches 5 feet outside of the zone and then looking at the one straight down the pipe.
The guy's
His
beyond lost, dude.
his eye is shot at the plate.
Yep, he's beyond lost, man. It's brutal.
What do you think of having Higgy out there tonight instead of Trevino?
I don't know. They said that he's Severino's catcher now, so Trevino's been in a slump, dude, for a long time.
True enough, but Trevino has been in a slump, but he's also been one of the more reliable guys at the plate with runners in scoring position for the team all season.
Yeah.
So having Higgy as high as he is at 7, hitting behind Donaldson, I don't know. I feel like the first 5 is fine when you got Bader, Judge, Stanton,
Dude, the
Rizzo,
6,
and
7,
Torres.
the 6, 7, 8, 9 is brutal, dude. It's. I mean, the 6, 7, 8, 9. What is it? Donaldson, right?
Donaldson, Higgy, Peraza, and Cabrera.
That's bad, man. That's bad.
Back half of the lineup, definitely going to
bad.
struggle. But meanwhile, you got Houston, who's been, using their rookie all season in Jeremy Pena, and he's come up big in the postseason twice now. He hit the home run yesterday, and he hit the home run to seal it in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's
good, man. They lose Correa, then they have this kid to back them up. It's insane, right?
But again, it just makes me question what Boone's logic was for keeping Peraza off the DS roster. Because we never used Lipke, didn't need him there. Marwin only saw field time because of the Hicks injury, but even then they moved Cabrera out into left to end that game. So I
don't know what the whole thing with Marwin was. I think it was just versatility. Even let's say Rizzo got hurt, he could play first, right? I think that's really what it was. Think about it, because Peraza, if on a roster, I mean, you really wouldn't want to put him at first base, right? At least if you could put Marwin there in a pinch. So I think it was just a little bit more versatility with Marwin over Peraza the first round. And I think the second round, it was like, all right, we're going to need a little bit more athleticism, maybe a little bit younger, maybe steal some more bases, maybe get a little bit better defensively, and they went with Peraza. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, I do think that Peraza is going to have a good postseason, but I think throwing him in there against Houston, which is a team that has just been dogging us for the last 6-7 years, I don't know what that's going to do to a guy's confidence when you're just throwing him out there. But he played well in the limited time he got in the regular season, so I'm hoping for some good things. What would you want out of Severino tonight?
What would I want, or what has to happen?
What do you think Severino gives us tonight? Let's say on a good night. What is Severino giving us right now?
I hope he gives us 6.
6 innings?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I could see him going around 6 or 7. Give me a couple of strikeouts. Ray says 6. Yeah, I think if he can give us a good 6 innings, and again, I just want to see Domingo tonight. I want to see Domingo come in and give us at least an inning, because he has just been overlooked in the postseason so far. So if Severino can give 6 and you can give Domingo 1 or 2.
Listen, Severino needs to, has to, must go 6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, man. Like, let's go. Like, you are a very good pitcher. You need to give us this length, man. We need it, dude. Like, it's just, what's this guy doing, man?
Yeah, Severino, a lot of people think he's still an ace caliber pitcher, and I think he still is. Barring injury, I think he's still one of the best pitchers in the game. But I want to see 7 tonight out of Severino,
Well,
just
listen,
because.
I would love to get 7 out of Severino. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like, what we want and what we need is, it's very much the same. Like we need 7, we want 7 because there's only a couple of handful of guys in the bullpen right now who I trust. Loizaga, Holmes, Trevino, and Peralta. Those are the
Peralta's
4 guys.
even Peralta's 50-50.
Yeah, but dude, he's been really good though.
True, but you also overused him in that, and I doubt we see him tonight because you used him all 4 games in Cleveland,
Yeah, but he
or
didn't
all
pitch
5
last
games against Cleveland. Still, I think I don't think we see Wandy tonight. Again, I want to see Domingo out there. If he's on the roster, I want to see him used. I don't know if they're saving him for maybe like a game 5 to start to open, but if we can see an inning out of him, I would be more than happy to see that for Domingo tonight. And then you can go to Loizaga and Holmes to close it out. But
We got
Severino's got to give us 6 or 7.
minimum, man. Like legit minimum. It's brutal, man.
Yeah.
So it's so bad. Like, man, like I don't even know what to say anymore. That's how frustrating it is, man. I'm actually like semi speechless. Like, just what happened to the days of like starters going 7, 8 innings trying to dominate a playoff game? Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, maybe we just don't have those guys in our team besides Cole. I don't know. But I'm tired of like 4 and a third innings and then let's patch it together with the bullpen. Well, guess what? This isn't the same bullpen that started the year with King healthy and Chad Green and this one and that one. It's a bunch of guys.
Martin is not even on the roster.
Yeah, and when I was watching the Michael K show today, Boone asked him. Michael K asked Boone, how close were you to putting Marinaccio on the roster? He goes, well, isn't, and then Michael K also said, well, isn't him 95% better than some of the guys that you have in there at 100%? And he's like, well, Boone got all mad. He's like, well, he's not nowhere near 95%, Michael. So that's just not right. That's false information. And then Michael K was like, well, I'm just saying a number. Like, even if he's 80%, I don't think it's better than some of the guys you have in there. And like, Boone was all butthurt, man. It's like, I mean,
well, Boone's not gonna say that. Boone's gonna be like he's gonna say the team friendly thing, and we trust in the guys we have there.
Well, that's what he said. He pretty much goes, we have who we have. When he goes, we also thought about on the whole flight to Houston yesterday about who we were going to carry in the pen, whether we were going to go with Marinaccio, who's like not 100%, or with the guys that we have in there now. So that's pretty much what he answered, without really getting too crazy into it.
Right. And you still got DJ, who's not on the roster. I said earlier that Benintendi would have been a big part of this roster right now.
There's one guy, bullpen and position player. If I could say out of any 5 guys that's off right now because of injury, Benintendi would be the number 1 choice. There's no doubt. Because then you could literally slide him right into left field, and you could bench Donaldson and put Cabrera at short, and then IKF at third. Mm-hmm. That's it. No doubt. Benny would have caught 95% of those balls that fell in left field for a bloop. Benny would read it off the bat better than Cabrera does. I don't care how fast Cabrera is. Your first jump for a fly ball or a pop-up or one at you in the outfield, your first move is the biggest move. If you're in for a ball that's at you and over your head, you're going to get smoked. It's going over your head. And if your first step is back on a ball that's short, you're not getting it.
Yep.
You got to understand, like, off the bat, whether it's coming to you, line drive, over your head, or short. And I think Benny would do a much better job of that than Cabrera, regardless of how good Cabrera is. How about some decent run support? Can't go 1 or 2 run lead with Houston. They'll small ball you into the ground and get 4 or 5. Well, very true. That's why if you were listening earlier, thank you for the comment, by the way. I said earlier, or maybe it was just with me and Chris privately, the Yankees lost that game when it was 2nd and 3rd with 1 out at the Stanton's double. I know it's only 1-0 at that point, but if you played across 2 or 3 more runs, now you're up 3-4-0. It changes the whole complex of the game. Instead, it's back-to-back strikeout by Carpenter, who looked lost, and Donaldson back-to-back Ks, and then you're out of the inning and we're only up 1-0. That, to me, is where the whole game was won and lost, personally.
Yeah, you can't score low against Houston because they can beat you either way. They can small ball you to death, but they also have guys like Tucker and Pena and Alvarez that will just nuke the ball if they need to. And
Yep.
we saw that in Seattle. Seattle put up a hell of a fight against Houston. I'll give them credit for that. They got swept, but they put up a fight. In all
Well,
three games.
they should have won game one till Robbie Ray gave up a 3-run homer. And then the extra inning games, the elimination game, extra inning game could have went either way. Pena hit the home run on the top of the inning, and then they lost. But yeah, man, they played them pretty good. Seattle, they definitely did.
And if you want to stack them up pitching wise head to head, would you rather have Robbie Ray or Garrett Cole? Would you rather have Castillo or Severino? It's the Yankees have the pitching, at least starting caliber wise, that match up with that team. But the difference is just guys getting on base. We don't have a Julio Rodriguez who can get on base every 2-3 at bats.
No.
Other than, and even Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a high strikeout guy. Giancarlo Stanton is a high strikeout guy.
Dude, 17 Ks.
Torres
17 Ks last night. The most ever.
Yeah.
Two strikeouts for Houston.
Top to bottom, this team, and it's been a narrative that's been put on us for the last few years. We're home run or nothing. And we just don't have the contact guy. The guys that we need are DJ and Benintendi, the contact guys that get on base that would help out guys like.
So that goes back to my comment in the chat earlier with us when I said this team's not constructed to win in the postseason.
I think
it's not.
I think they were constructed, but injuries played their part.
Yeah, but we didn't lose no one in the position player wise that hurt us. It's bullpen guys that we lost. We got no guys that Benintendi would have been nice, a 300 hitter to have in our lineup. Not there. He's the only one that's hurt that really matters. And DJ, but DJ's been, out for the whole year. Basically he played in spots, dribs and drags, but he's been hurt. Nice to have those two guys.
But he still hit 260, 270. He still hit 267.
We just need guys that get on, that hit gap to gap and get on base, man. And right now it's either boom or bust.
Our best on-base guy is IKF, but he can't play defense. He can't play defense at shortstop. So now we've resorted to benching him when you could play him at third, but then you're giving all that money to Donaldson, so you kind of feel obligated.
Yeah, but you wanted to watch it. Let's worry about the money getting to Donaldson next year. Try to trade him in the offseason. Let's put out our best lineup right now. And Donaldson in the lineup is not the best lineup. Put IKF at third.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that for 2 months, but I can at least understand why it's happening. When you're paying, it was the same thing with Hicks. I don't think Hicks would have made the roster if he didn't have his 7-year, $70 million contract. I don't think he would have made the DS roster. I think he would have made the CS roster if he didn't get hurt because of his contract. But was he the best guy to have on the team? No, probably not. But we'll see how it goes tonight. We really do need this win. Again, I want Severino to go 6 or 7. Hopefully Bader plays well in that leadoff spot. Gives them opportunities to Judge, Stanton, and Rizzo to knock them in.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a real true leadoff hitter with DJ being out and Benintendi, so we're trying spots. We're trying Glaber at leadoff. And like A-Rod said on Michael K show today, it was a great take by A-Rod. He's such a knowledgeable guy. He goes, Torres was uncomfortable playing shortstop, and it showed. Put him back to second base. He was comfortable. He was not comfortable hitting leadoff, and it was evident. And he likes being in the middle of the order, so now he's back batting fifth. I agree with both of those statements. He was not comfortable at short. He was not comfortable leading off, and he was striking out a lot and not getting on base as a leadoff guy. So, we literally are batting Bader now leadoff because we have no choice. When Bader's really a 7th or 8th guy in the lineup.
When you look at the changes that we got in the move that we made in the offseason in the infield, you could say it's a pretty lateral move because of the injuries to DJ last year. Glaber hit around the same thing DJ did last year. The errors at shortstop that Glaber was making are being made by IKF. And then you had Donaldson and Urshela, who great defensively, but they're around 220 to 230 hitters in a good season. They've been lateral moves across the board when it comes to the infield. The only major difference was Trevino behind the plate because Gary Sanchez is like the worst player. Is like the worst catcher in baseball, at least defensively.
Yeah.
Tyler Wade should have been put on the roster. That's the type of energy I like to see.
Well, listen, I don't know who made that comment.
See.
I would love to see who that was. who even made that comment? Please,
Listen,
please.
I don't know. I don't know
let
who
me
it
know.
was. I don't know who it was, but I like that energy. I'm a big Tyler Wade guy. But
Let me tell you something.
I think he
about
did
Tyler
select
Wade.
free agency.
Let me tell you something about Tyler Wade. That guy being in the MLB and collecting a paycheck is highway robbery.
He's a good guy to have. He's a good defensive guy. He's a good utility defensive guy. He can play the infield. He can play. He's Marwin. He's Marwin Gonzalez, but faster. He could play the corner outfield. He could play the middle infield.
Talk about a guy who has no bat. His bat's worse than everyone you just named. And you want a speed. You want a speed guy. You got LeCastro. There you go. That's the speed guy.
It wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more speed on the backs.
Who the hell would Tyler Wade replace?
Oh, Tyler gets on base. Oh, so he's defending Tyler Wade to the end, and I'm here for it.
Listen, man, we appreciate the comment, but you're a little bit off base. Speaking of being Tyler gets on base, you're off base with that comment. Tyler Wade's putrid. He went to the Angels with Velasquez, and everyone was mad because they did okay for like a 4-week stint. Then they came back to reality and they got DNF'd. So, you know.
Listen, I love Tyler Wade. He gets on base. He's a lefty. He does get on base. He does draw a good few walks. Josh Donaldson also does suck. And he'd be a guy that you can pinch run in at any position.
The only thing I will say about Josh Donaldson is that he should have been on a finalist for the American League Gold Glove at third. His numbers defensively were like top 5, top 3 in the league at American League third baseman. He wasn't even on the ballot.
Yeah, Rizzo got a nod. Trevino got a nod. We had 5 players that got a nod, including Benintendi.
It was Benintendi, Clay Holmes, Trevino.
Clay Holmes got a nod.
I thought it was Clay Holmes pitcher.
Tyone got it for pitcher.
Oh, Tyone. I'm sorry. It was Tyone. Sorry, it's Tyone, DJ, Rizzo. That's 3. Trevino.
And DJ. DJ got it for utility.
Yeah, I said DJ. Yeah. DJ, Tyone, Rizzo, Trevino, and then I forgot who the 5th was.
Benny.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Benny. Yep.
Yeah, those were the 5 guys that got it. JD strikes out more than anyone on the Yankees.
Well, you're not telling a lie. He's pretty bad right now. Him and Judge were really putrid a lot of the times. Josh Donaldson, I said, man, should be benched. IKF at third. Peraza at short tonight. If that's what you want to do with Cabrera in left.
Yeah,
that should have been the lineup for tonight.
That should have been the lineup for last night. Again, I don't know what the hesitance was for bringing Peraza in. The best way for a guy to get experience is to give the guy the experience and just let him play. And I don't think he was bad enough to be held off of that DS roster, even for guys like Marwin. And again, you didn't even use Lucas Litke, so he shouldn't have made the roster anyway. But I digress. Love the Tyler Wade love. But yeah, I don't know. Tyler Wade is a cool player. Again, he's a good utility guy. That's all I would say about it. He's a guy that could play the corner outfield and he could play 3 infield positions. And he's fast.
That's what Cabrera is, but he's been forced to play left field because Benny's out. Cabrera's our utility guy. Would you take Cabrera over Wade?
The way Cabrera's been hitting this offseason, this postseason, what's the difference?
Because Tyler Wade has showed you for the last 4 years he can't hit.
I haven't seen anything out of Cabrera this postseason that shows he could hit in the postseason.
No, but he's also a rookie. I mean, he played pretty good during the regular season. Spotlight may be a little bit much. I've
given Cabrera a lot of leeway, especially when it came to that play in against Cleveland that Ray was really getting on him for. Even though I feel like again that was mostly on Donaldson. You know, I feel like he should have held on to that ball, and I think that's what cost us the game or one of the what was it, game 2 against Cleveland, where that bloop into left field, Cabrera lets it drop after he dives for it, and then Donaldson just sails the throw, and Ramirez makes it to third. I feel like that was mostly on Donaldson.
Man, to me, that ball's got to be catched by Cabrera, man. That's just me.
If you look at the play, he charges it the whole way, and Donaldson doesn't give him the space to make the play.
Listen, man, that's an outfielder's ball all the time, though.
Then Donaldson's got to give him the space to make the play.
Yeah.
Again,
definitely a outfielder's ball. But let's talk about this putrid offense that needs to show up tonight, man. We need to score a lot of runs, man, and a lot of runs quick. I think we have to strike early.
I do think Stanton hits a home run tonight, or at least that's what I'm hoping, because that's been he in the postseason. He just hits home runs.
The guy's batting over his last 20 postseason games. He's batting over 300 with 10 home runs and 22 RBIs.
I think he's gonna get one tonight. With Valdez on the mound, I feel like he's gonna get one, middle in. Hopefully, I want it to be a 2-run shot. Bader walks or something. I want it to be early too. I want to just speed back.
Well,
them
listen,
and
as I say, you got to strike early, number one, and it's got to be more than just a solo shot. You got to put someone on the board that's going to hurt them a little bit. A 2-run, 3-run jack, right?
That's the problem with not having many contact guys on this team right now. It's even when we're hitting the home runs, it's solo shots. It's minimal damage.
Yep.
But again, we'll see. Hopefully, they'll get help from the bottom of the lineup, because we kind of dogged it. But if Cabrera could find a way to get on base, if Peraza can find a way, what I would do to see a bunt. Small ball doesn't really exist in baseball anymore. I don't know. I think it was the Mets. The Mets probably did it the best with Thomas Nido. Like, they're the only team I saw regularly bunting.
Yeah, we want to know what, though. I agree with that comment, though, man. Like if it's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy, let's say Donaldson hits a double, man, right off the wall. Yeah, why wouldn't you have Higgy or Peraza or whoever it is with 0 outs bunt? Yeah, let's get a run, man. Let's manufacture a run. Like, we actually stolen a couple bags, but let's do something else besides just try to hitting a 3-run shot. Like, let's try something else.
True. Again, this team has just been home run or bust, and that's been the label that's been put on us for years.
And that's why I said earlier in the chat that we're not constructed to win in the playoffs. You're facing the best pitchers in the playoffs. You're facing Verlander, and then you're facing their second guy and the third guy. Then it's going to go back to Verlander again. You're not facing Aaron Savali, okay? That's not who you're facing here. You're facing the good teams, the good pitching. That's why his team ain't ready to win in October, man. Could we do it? Yes, we could do it. Could we beat Houston? Yes, could we? The umps were making a few calls with 2-1 calls that could have been 3-1. Then it went 3-2. Then strike out. Yeah, the umpires have not been good in a lot of different series, not just the Yankees and Guardians, not just the Yankees in this series. I agree. This is literally why some people want to have a whatever K-zone, right?
The robo umps, yeah.
Yep. I still think you need regular umpires just because, right? But yeah, when you see one umpire give you a strike out of the chest and one guy's calling Aaron Judge on his shins, it's tough. It's not. This is not just for Judge. This is just using him as an example, right? There's been a lot of bad calls, strike balls. It changes the whole. It definitely changes the whole at bat. That's for sure.
The guy who was behind the plate last night was the umpire for 15 Yankee games, including last night. Yankees are 1-14 in those games.
No, is that because the way this guy umps, or is that just
I mean, given the calls last night, I'm not going to pretend to know every game he called, but given the calls last night,
I'm not going to lie to you. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, a lot of those calls were questionable when it came to the Yankees, but Judge has been getting those calls for the last 4 years. Calls at the shin, calls a little too high, calls a little outside, which is why he's widened his zone, and that's why he strikes out. That's another reason why he strikes out so much, because he swings at stuff. because he swings the stuff outside of the plate because umps are going to call it strikes anyway.
Yeah, but I think Judge is definitely pressing a little bit with his swing in the postseason.
Well, it's because he knows that he is the best player on this team. He does recognize that if he's not hitting well, the team is probably not going to win. And you saw it at the end of the season when he was going for the record. He's just trying a little too hard. They need to pitch their game and make the batter swing and stop with the pitching fastballs over the plate. I agree. I feel like that's what killed us against Cleveland in that game too. When Tyon was just throwing stuff over the plate and Josh Naylor kills him and Oscar Gonzalez pokes one to the opposite field. They just need to work with their stuff. But the problem with that is our guys' main pitches are fastballs. Outside of Nestor, Severino and Cole's best pitch is their fastball.
Yeah. Listen, man,
hard to work around that.
We got to win tonight. That's all that matters. We got to put some good at bats together. Take some pitchers, work some counts, steal some bases, and let's try to put up a good fight tonight, man. We can't go down swinging, you know.
So you said you would want Severino for 6, and then who would you want coming out of the pen?
Trevino, Loizaga 8th, and Holmes 9th.
You want to use Loizaga back-to-back days? Did he pitch yesterday? I feel like he pitched yesterday. Or I
really don't remember, but all I know is that Loizaga looks really good right now.
All right, fair enough. Clark Schmidt, I don't think should see any more postseason time.
No, you got to go with a combination of Trevino, Holmes, Peralta, and Loizaga. That's the 4 you got to use.
If we do somehow find a way to make it to the next round, do you think Clark Schmidt is the odd man out and Marinaccio
probably
comes back?
Yeah, well, Marinaccio, Boone said that if there's someone that got injured in this series, he can. When Marinaccio could replace him. So, yeah, if we make it to the World Series, you're going to see a bunch of things. Benny will probably be back. I think DJ might be back. Maybe not, but Benny will be back, and so will Marinaccio. Those will probably be the 2 moves you see, to be honest with you. So
who would you send down? Who would you send down besides Clark? You send Peraza back down?
If Benny comes back, I send down Peraza. And Marinaccio comes back, I send down Schmidt.
Okay.
Those are my 2 moves. Yep, I'll leave you on that. Those are my 2 ads. Add Marinaccio, add Benny. If Benny can obviously come back. You send down, you get rid of Schmidt for the pitching ad in Marinaccio, and you bring down Peraza and you add Benny. That's my move.
All right, fair enough. Tommy, you got anything else to say before you head out?
Just go Yankees, man. No big hoorah speech. Let's just try to get a W. Go 1-1 on the road, like that's what you always want to do. And that's what we can do game 3 at home with Cole on the mound, man. But either way, we got to get a big win tonight. Let's go Yankees. And Chris, I'll talk to you during the game, buddy.
Yep.
All right, guys. Be well. Thank you. We'll see you guys later. Be good.
And we're back to just me. So that means, well, I mean, we still got a little bit of time before I talk some football. The Phillies are a team that, if you watch the older episodes from even going back a few months ago, I was always high on guys like JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins. They're raking. They did lose that game the other night. Kind of just fell apart. Aaron Nola just gave up hit after hit, and then the bullpen does what it does. But I still think no matter what this team ends up doing, if the Padres end up advancing, the Phillies can look back at the season as a success. They have really came out of nowhere, took out their division rivals, the team that won the division in Atlanta. The Mets, they fell apart against San Diego, getting 1 hit, but the Phillies have been the surprising team to come out of this postseason, the 6th seed that kind of snuck their way all the way to the championship series. And right now they have an even series. They're playing game 3 tonight. I believe Syndergaard is on the mound. Let me double check that. I believe Syndergaard is on the mound. Or is that tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? Yeah, it's tomorrow. So for the Phillies, for the Phillies tomorrow, it's Suarez versus Musgrove. Musgrove has played really well. Played really well in that postseason. Yeah, Montas. I was always somebody that wanted Carlos Rodon and during the trade deadline. Montas was the more team friendly deal, I understand, but I feel like if we're in win now mode and with Judge being out or Judge's contract situation not being solidified, I feel like win now would have been the way to go. Worry about Rodon's contract in the offseason. But we bring in Montas, and Montas really has proven that he's a Oakland Coliseum merchant. He doesn't really play well outside of Oakland. He's still got another year to prove himself. It's the same thing with Bader, but Bader's played really well since we got him. Montas still has a little time to improve, but I'd be surprised if we see him again in this series. Maybe if we need a really long relief, but the thing is, if we need a really long relief guy like Montas, that means we got railed in the first 2 innings. So I don't know. Montas really not great. But love Bader. He's from Bronxville, local kid, grew up watching the Yankees, loving the Yankees, and he's just a beast defensively. I was a little hesitant. Again, if you go watch the previous episodes, I was really high on Jordan Montgomery, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the trade because of Bader's injury, because you're dealing with a guy that his main strengths are his speed and his defensive capabilities, and he was coming off a foot injury. So I wasn't too sure on how that trade was going to go, but Bader's been great ever since he came back. Swiping bags, getting these clutch hits, hitting the ball over the fence in the postseason. He had 5 all season. He's got 4 in the postseason. So love Bader, and I'm excited to see what he does. He's one of the best defensive center fielders in the league. Him and Judge, I feel like, is a good 1-2 out there. If Benintendi was there, I feel like we'd have the best outfield in the league. But Benintendi being injured, big knock on that. But we'll see. Again, Bader hitting first, I think, is a good move. He's a guy that does get on base. A lot of his at-bats are like difficult at-bats. He's a tough out. He knows how to draw a walk. He knows how to prolong at-bats. And that's just with him with the bat. Hitting in front of Judge, I think, is really going to help. Judge in that first spot, in the leadoff spot, I think was really just for that home run record. Just so we can get the most at-bats, just to maximize the chance of getting the at-bats. But other than that, him in that 2 to 3 hole, I think, is the best spot for Judge. And guys like Bader, Benintendi, and LeMahieu should be those 1-2 guys. But for the last 15 minutes, it's time to talk a little about some football and a little bit of basketball, because basketball season is back and the Knicks almost beat Memphis last night. Came down to that call at the end of the game with John Morant nearly hitting that buzzer beater, that crazy fucking layup around forgot who it was that drew the charge. But, it was a fun game. Knicks still kind of suck, but that's a future problem. The Knicks have been in constant rebuild since around 2011, 2012. Ever since Amari Stoudemire started regressing badly. But we'll see how the next season goes. I'm a Clippers fan. Clippers first game is tonight against the Lakers. That should be fun to see. The return of Kawhi Leonard, John Wall making his Clippers debut. I'm excited. But in terms of football, last week, here's the recap. Commanders and Bears. I forgot who I said would win. I said neither team would score 20 points, so I'm calling that a win. 12-7, Commanders over the Bears. Was, as someone that didn't watch college, I don't know if Justin Fields was ever good, but man, he doesn't look good at an NFL level. He really doesn't. It's he just misses every other throw, and it's frustrating to watch because he was highly touted. A lot of people thought Justin Fields was going to be a very good quarterback, and I'm just not seeing it right now. On the other hand, Commanders won the game. just barely getting the stop at the 1 yard line because Darnell Mooney bobbled the ball in the end zone and then caught it at the 1 and then was pushed out of bounds. Carson Wentz goes down with a broken finger. Taylor Heineke is taking over this week. 12-7 Commanders over the Bears. Both teams suck. Thursday Night Football sucks. We're going to keep watching it, though, because it's football. Giants over the Ravens, 24-20. The Ravens can't hold a lead. They just can't. Every loss this season has come when they have been up by 10 or more points. And it's frustrating because Lamar Jackson should be an MVP candidate, but the way this team has played has knocked him out of contention. Yes, you could say this game in particular was on him with the interception and the fumble, but overall, the team is just kind of floundered in the second half. They just can't finish anyone off, and it sucks. J.K. Dobbins, I feel like, should get a little bit more rub than he does. He got a lot of rub in that game against Cleveland on Thursday night. But other than that, he really hasn't done much. Gus Edwards, invisible. Kenyon Drake was the leading running back on that team. He kind of came out of nowhere, and now they signed Deshaun Jackson, who's 35, 36. I don't think that's going to fix any of their problems. It gives them another deep threat, but the one problem we've had from Lamar Jackson is his accuracy when it comes to the deep ball. So we'll see how that goes. The Giants are just 5-1, which I think nobody saw coming. They have a really good defense. Their offense, which seems bereft of weapons, are finding ways to win, mainly because of how good Saquon has played in the first quarter of this season. He's really put the team on his back, and he made the 300 IQ play of sliding down instead of taking the touchdown at the end of this game, and you just love to see Saquon playing well. I still don't think Daniel Jones is the answer, but hey, they've won 5 games with him. They're still probably the third best team in the division behind the Cowboys and the Eagles, but there's a very good chance that there are 3 NFC East teams in the playoffs this year. Giants 24, Ravens 20. On to the Colts and the Jaguars. Colts 34, Jaguars 27. Trevor Lawrence ran for a couple touchdowns. Matt Ryan still slinging the ball. He's second in yards, but it's an AFC South matchup. No one really cares. Both teams kind of suck. But, you know, the Colts are showing why that they were somewhat favorites coming out of this division. Tennessee lost their best receiver. And the Colts, what it appeared that the Colts upgraded at quarterback, and they should have made the playoffs last year. So, yeah, the Colts beat the Jaguars 34-27, but it's an AFC South matchup. No one really cares about that. Moving on to the Patriots and the Browns. Bill Belichick refused to lose to the Browns after what they did to him. Bailey Zappi is playing really well. Who knows? They're trying to make another QB controversy just on a lesser scale than there is in Dallas because Bailey Zappi has played pretty well, but they've also simplified the system for him. They're not doing as much as they did with Mac Jones, but they're winning football games, and the Browns are just a frustrating team to watch, man. It's another team just... I get Jacoby Brissett isn't the best quarterback in the league, but you have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and David Njoku. You have weapons. Amari Cooper is your WR1. If they could just hold the fort down until Deshaun Watson comes back, they're gonna be fine. But it seems like they can't even do that because they just got smoked by the Patriots 38-15. Bengals and Saints. The Saints are a scrappy team, even though they're running with like third stringers at this point. Still no Michael Thomas, who you got to think at this point, he's never going to be what he was with Drew Brees. No Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara's dealt with injuries this year. Jarvis Landry's dealt with injuries this year. Chris Olave, I think, was out last week as well. So the Saints were really throwing out anybody out there, and they still put up a fight against the Bengals because Joe Burrow's offensive line doesn't like him. But Jamar Chase had the big play at the end of the game to break it open, the 44-yard touchdown, ran down the sideline, won the game for them. Bengals are still pretty cool. They're probably they're the most trustworthy team in the AFC North, which is tedious at best. Because you got the Steelers who just lost to the Jets and was it the Jaguars? They lost back-to-back games that they probably should not have won. Or they should not have lost. Then you got the Ravens who can't hold a lead. And then you got the Browns who are just waiting for Deshaun Watson. So the Bengals are probably the most trustworthy team in the AFC North, but that's really not saying a lot. The Saints, if they were healthy, I feel like they would be good, but they're just not. They're just cooked everywhere. So Bengals 30, Saints 26. Steelers, speaking of the Steelers, they just beat the Buccaneers. And speaking of teams that are just not living up to it, the Buccaneers do not look good. The offense looks really bad even. Tom Brady missing throws, missing guys completely. But again, you got to think injuries. Mike Evans missed a game. Julio Jones has missed most of the season. Chris Godwin has missed a game or two. They've kind of shuffled out their slot receivers. They've had Scotty Miller, Russell Gage, Cole Beasley for 2 games. They just really need to get a certain core together, and I think they'll be okay because Leonard Fournette is still a very good running back. Cameron Brate is a decent tight end, and I think that the Buccaneers should be okay, but they've looked offensively challenged to start this season. Moving on to the Steelers, they barely won this game. They're okay, I guess. Not really much to say. Kenny Pickett's out. Most of the defense was out. Not really a lot to say for the Steelers. It's a good win for them, but I doubt they do much this year because I don't trust their quarterback situation, and the defense looked really bad when TJ Watt is out. So, Steelers 20, Buccaneers 18. Falcons over the 49ers. Probably, I was going to say probably the shocker of the week. But that's probably the next game we're going to talk about. Falcons 28 over the Niners at 14. Falcons are 3-3 right now, and they're just another team that's been really, really scrappy this year. They're finding ways to win. They're just if the passing game's not working, they're just going to run it down your throat. And even without Cordero Patterson, Marcus Mariota has shown that, hey, he's still a pretty good quarterback. He's showing a bit of that talent that made him go in the first round. He was a first overall pick by Tennessee. So Falcons, cool. Now the 49ers, they're just a confusing team. They're just such a 50-50 team where some weeks they'll look like one of the best teams in football, and then the next week they're going to get just destroyed by a team that should be worse than them on paper. Jimmy G played okay, I guess. Not the best. It's about a Jimmy G game that you can expect. A couple picks, couple touchdowns, but ever since he's been a 49er, the best years of his Niners tenure was when they had a really good run game, and they just did not have that today. Falcons 28, 49ers 14. Now on to the definite shocker of the week. The Jets beating the Packers 27-10. Aaron Rodgers looks old, and he looks like he doesn't want to be there. Which, granted, makes sense. He wanted out of there last year. They worked a contract around it, but Aaron Rodgers just doesn't look happy in Green Bay right now. And you could definitely tell it's because of his receivers. He doesn't have a reliable receiver to throw to. Sammy Watkins was probably going to be that guy before he got hurt. Randall Cobb was going to be that guy, and he got hurt. And now you just have Alan Lazard and a bunch of guys that are unproven. So, Packers, they're just not a good team right now, and it's shocking to say because I still would probably say that they're the best team in the NFC North, but it looks like the Vikings are going to run away with that division, which I did say would happen. I felt like the Vikings were going to win that division, but I didn't think the Packers would be this bad. The Jets, however, they're taking advantage of their win. Sauce Gardner looks like one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and you kind of saw that coming out of college. And why he was so highly touted. Sauce Gardner is really, really good, and he is just locking up guys defensively. And again, I know the Packers don't have the best wide receivers in the league, but I really like what they're doing defensively for the Jets. What he's doing defensively for the Jets, and in terms of offense, even though Elijah Moore just like up and quit today, he just said he wants to get traded. It's whatever. I don't think that the Jets are that great. They're still probably the third best team in their division. I know I'm just kind of dogging on New York sports right now, but I don't think they're better than the Bills or the Patriots. Or not the Patriots, the Bills or the Dolphins when they're fully healthy. I do think if Tua does come back, that the Dolphins are a much better team, but we'll see. Jets 27, Packers 10. Vikings over the Dolphins. Dolphins had to resort to their third string quarterback. Vikings took advantage. There's really not a lot to talk about in this game. Back and forth game before Dalvin Cook put it in the books. It's about what you can expect. Teddy Bridgewater kind of kept the game in line for most of the game, until throws it to Vikings cornerback, and game's over from there after the Dalvin Cook run. Vikings 24, Dolphins 16. Rams and Panthers. The Panthers are just the biggest part of this game. The only thing to mention about this game is Robbie Anderson walking off the field and then getting traded to Arizona. Other than that, Rams look still really underwhelming this year. So I don't know what's going to take for them to kick it in gear, but they need to hit that second gear quick because the Seahawks have been playing really, really well. The Seahawks are 3-3, and they just beat the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals play tonight. They're getting DeAndre Hopkins back. They have Robbie Anderson now. They lost Hollywood Brown, but they should have a good wide receiver room. And I think that they're going to play a lot better with DeAndre Hopkins as an option. Because they didn't score a touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks. So, Seahawks beat the Cardinals 19-9. Bills over the Chiefs. This is a rivalry that is probably the next Manning and Brady because these two quarterbacks are so good. These two teams are so good. The Bills beat the Chiefs 24-20. Comes on a game-sealing interception by Patrick Mahomes. Man, this is going to be a fun rivalry to watch for the next decade and a half. But Josh Allen gets this one. He played amazing. There's when the Bills and Chiefs are on, you just got to watch. There's not much I could say. You just got to watch the game, 24-20, Bills over the Chiefs. Eagles over the Cowboys, 26-17. Got to see when Dak is back. Everyone loves Cooper Rush, but we all know Dak is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And, the Eagles just took advantage. Cooper Rush had a bad game, and the Eagles just won. They're finding ways to win, and, good for them. They're 6-0. The only undefeated team. They look like the most well-rounded team in football. Top to bottom, great running game, great offensive line, great defensive line, great receiving core in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. There's really not a bad thing I can say about them. Jalen Hurts was playing really well as well. So Eagles 26, Cowboys 17. Eagles looking like one of the best teams in football. And then the Monday night game, Chargers over the Broncos 19-16. The Broncos are really depressing to watch because they should be better. The refs were really prevalent in this game, so it's whatever. Not really a fun game to watch. On either side, the Chargers are frustrating as well, but for for around the same reason. They should be a much more high-powered offense, but they just don't have it. And they take really, really weird risks in these games. Staley has gotten bailed out because of just honestly playing some bad teams and bad clock management. But Chargers do pull out the win in overtime, 19-16. And that is the recap for last week. Looking forward to tonight, Saints Cardinals. Saints are still beat up. They really are. Lattimore, Thomas, their best cornerback and their best receiver are out against the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, I just said, got their wide receiver room back. I think the Cardinals should just run away with this game. I suspect a blowout is going to happen tonight. Cardinals over the Saints. I would put that in the books. So that is the football recap for this week, and that is where we will leave off. Yankee game starts in about 30 minutes, so everybody get ready, get prepared, and get ready to enjoy some baseball. For me and Tommy, Jeff, Joe, and Ray, and everybody here at Fired Up Sports, thank you for watching. Hopefully, we will be back next week, or what am I saying? Hopefully, next week we will be back either in bright spirits or in tears. And we are going to watch intently to find out which is which. But until then, we will see you next week. Thank you. Good night.